Hello and welcome to today's edition of Route 664, The Road to Human Kindness. I'm Les Winston, I'm your host, and we talk about social security, the theory of social security, the use of 664 and other sections of the tax code that were given to us back in 1969 in order to make the world a better place. And we need to make the world a better place. We need to change from belligerence to human kindness. We have to stop what's going on around the world, and the only way that we're going to do that is by every one of us individually taking control and doing what's necessary for ourselves first, and then doing what's necessary for the community when we're no longer here. It's a really simple process. The theory of social security is that 664 section of the tax code equals endowment squared. Two endowments, one endowment to serve you, and the second endowment that you leave behind when you're no longer here and you're no longer getting income from the first endowment. There's no reason why you can't pass that on. Now, Social Security is something like that. That's why this is called Social Security. It's a blending of Social Security and charity jammed together. And the reason that we've put them together is because Social Security and Social Security are very similar. In Social Security, however, you pay into a fund against your wishes sometimes. Not everybody wants to be forced to pay into this tax, but you are by nature of the laws that have been passed. So Social Security is required for you to pay into. And you pay into it for many, many years. And at the end of the time when you're ready to retire, if you're not married and you have no children and you pass away, everything disappears. It goes into the ether. Now, you may say, well, that's helping the government. Well, we don't know how it helps the government. The difference with Social Security is that whatever you create for yourself, to create the income that you need, that is consistent, that can't be taken away from you, that can build your own retirement fund, when that's done, when you've passed, or the people that you've left it to pass, that money can be directed by you and your family into the community to serve the needs of the community. I just heard today that in New Jersey, I think it was 30 some odd community hospitals closed. That's devastating to communities. And there's a reason for that closure. The closure generally happens because of economic reasons. What we're proposing with Social Security and the amazing power of charity is that we can endow our own hospitals and our own communities with enough income, with enough revenue to be able to sustain themselves without government support, without taxpayer support, but rather voluntary charitable support. And if that were the case, I don't think those community hospitals would close. So our objective is to see that we can get a community hospital in every community that's endowed, schools that are endowed. The endowment of those social projects, those social values, is one of the most important things that we can do. In addition to that, government support of non-governmental organizations has been crippling to the economy of this country. And we can't afford to be able to spend what the tax dollars are collected to do. We can't spend that on things that are really not government requirements. And that's a problem. So the only way that we change that is by using what government gave us. Congress gave us these sections of the tax code back in 1969. Unfortunately, they're not used enough. And the reason they're not used enough is most people don't even know that they exist. So our problem, our way of reaching out to you, is to let you know that you can become an informed taxpayer, that you can find a way to reduce your taxes legitimately using charitable financial planning and using planned gifts and using social security, the theory of social security. My guest today in the studio is Wanda Myles. Wanda Myles is our resident genius. She is the director of our communications and has done amazing work with our friend Charity, with our superhero Charity. We're going to get to meet more. We're going to get to see Charity later on. Charity has a trivia quiz for us also.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So how are you, Wanda?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. So Charity,
I had some questions, but we'll get to those when you're ready.
Okay.
No,
we can do that first. That's good.
Okay,
I think it's a good way to open. It'll help us.
First question was, how do you think the bank closures, having a tax code 664 and the bank closures, how would that
How is it related?
How could people maybe save their money from bank closures?
All right.
Is
Well,
it possible?
bank closures is an unusual financial issue because bank closures, what generally happens is the banks. You have two people that are interested in banks. The first person that's interested in the bank is the people that have invested in the bank and that they have gone into the banking business as an investment for themselves. The other people that are interested in banks are the people that have deposited their money in the banks. And those depositors have protection. The government gives them protection up to $250,000 per account. And they have protection because in many instances what happens is the banks are taken over by another bank, a bigger bank. And so the depositors have protection from the insurance and they also have protection from the future bank. The people that get hurt are the people that have invested in the banks. They lose their investments entirely in many instances because the banks, the stock value goes down to zero. Now, the way that 664 and Social Security can have an impact on that is that banks are a good place to hold money for checking accounts. They're not great from the standpoint of producing income because the interest rates that they're paying are very small on accounts that they are providing as a place to put money into a savings atmosphere. So many people don't use banks exclusively to keep their money growing. They want to use other means, and the other means that they can use is they can invest in the stock market, they can invest in bonds that are outside of banks. And so the bank failures are really minimized when you take control over your own financial well-being by having some knowledge about where to put the money. And people can put their money into pooled income funds. People can put their money into charitable devices at a very small level on an annual basis. So it's almost like a savings account that way, even down to as little as $3,000 a year. Pooled income funds that have been created for charitable income to the individuals, that is brought down to small levels where somebody could contribute $3,000 a year and they can grow that account over time. So that's a long answer to that question, but I think it's important.
It's complex.
I think people need to know that individuals have the power to control what they're growing.
I was just wondering if people could protect their money better if they got a 664 as opposed to
they would be
having
protected
it in a
better.
bank.
They'd be protected for several reasons. One, their money would be in trust, and secondly, that trust is required to be completely open, transparent, and they have to file tax returns on an annual basis, and they're trackable. It's not like your money's going someplace where you don't know where it is. And you do have protection from, in investment accounts, the SIPC is much larger than FDIC as far as the amounts that you protect. SIPC goes up to 20 million, I think.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so
I'm not there yet.
Okay, well, we hope you get there.
Okay, one more question.
Yeah.
How much income do I need? This is from the grab bag questions. How much income do I need to be eligible for a pooled income fund?
As I said, you can put in as little as $3,000 a year.
Okay.
In that instance, the tax deduction is not as important as the accumulation value. And what you're basically doing is you're supplementing your own Social Security with Social Security, and that I think is a really good thing to do.
Oh, one more.
Yeah.
What is the minimum payout rate for a charitable remainder trust?
5%.
Okay.
Charitable remainder trust must pay 5% in income to the income beneficiary. That is the minimum amount.
All right.
So that's 5%. Now that can be 5% of a fixed amount. That can be 5% as a fixed amount, or it could be 5% of a variable amount. And that's the difference between an annuity trust and you. Yeah.
Ooh.
There's between a CRUT. Excellent job.
Hey, Wanda.
There's between a CRUT and a CRAT. So
A letter.
put that in your pipe and smoke it. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay. That's enough of my
All right,
questions.
so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about charity. Charity is a superhero, and it's been said that she was born out of the age of Aquarius.
Oh.
And it kind of makes sense because she represents peace and harmony and all the things that
charity
They
means.
talk about, in the great song of the Fifth Dimension,
Ooh,
the
this
Age
is
of
dawning.
Aquarius from Hair. The point is that I guess the moon is in the seventh house and Jupiter is aligned with Mars.
Look it up, kids.
That's it. So we've come from the era of Pisces into the era of Aquarius. And I think that this is the era of human kindness. And we need to go from human kindness, human kindnessation.
I mean, we should stop killing each other.
Yeah, we go to human kindnessation and stop the belligeration and try and save the nation. How's
Ooh,
that?
he's a
Alliteration
rapper.
there. Yeah. So we have the opportunity to do all of those things, and we just have to know how to do it. I think it has to be simple enough for people to really grasp. And I will say this, the community, the Endow America Network Foundation, which is the sponsor of this program, Route 664, the Road to Human Kindness, all makes sense. They have created pooled income funds that are available for individuals to make those kinds of investments into, those kinds of donations into. It's a donation and an investment at the same time. It's not really a singular investment because you don't have control over the corpus, but you do get the income that it produces. So It's really virtually the same thing. It's like Social Security, almost exactly, because Social Security, you're assuming you're going to get your income. When we were talking to Michael Paredes the other day, and I asked him the question as a 23-year-old, do you think that you're going to get, what do you think about Social Security? He says, I don't think it's going to be there when I get there. And a lot of people feel that way.
It's awesome that he even thinks about it. I'm sure a lot of people
Well, remember
don't
his
even
mother
think
was a
about it.
CPA,
Yeah,
and
that's true.
he was homeschooled.
Yeah.
He was an unusual individual from that perspective.
Not
I
that
don't think
unusual anymore. A lot of kids are homeschooled these days, but they don't get a lot of the finance stuff. So I think
financial literacy.
financial literacy. That's another thing that we're keen on getting out there.
Right, and we have in order to further financial literacy, you did. I know we've got Charity has got a trivia quiz.
Charity helped me with a quiz, and I just want to say that charity is all of us. Charity represents that part of all of us that wants to help and can help if you care enough to help your fellow man. You are your brother's keeper. We are, for sure.
Well, I think we're born kind.
We are.
I think I think that babies are willing to share.
Babies love. You
And
look
then
at babies, pure
then they're
love.
taught not to do that anymore.
Stop doing that.
Yeah. So we need to change. It's not a change. It's really the realization of everything that's in us. And human kindness is a lot better than
Unlearn
belligerence.
the belligerence.
Yes, exactly. So do we have a trivia quiz?
Yeah,
with,
let's go with a trivia quiz 1. What do you think? Can you hear me?
So the idea of the trivia quiz,
How'd
I
you
guess
do?
charity is, I think I did
You
pretty
aced
well, yeah. We hope everybody aced that. We're going to have more of those trivia quizzes from time to time. You can find them on our website.
On YouTube, too, our
and
YouTube
yeah,
channel, Social
exactly.
Security.
The idea is we want you to know what 664 is. You know, we want you to understand how powerful that is and what it does for you and for the community and for your family. Everybody benefits, including the government, because the government doesn't have to spend that money on something that doesn't require the government's input. So when government is supporting non-governmental organizations, we want to stop that. We want to create enough charitable wealth to support the community, the people in the community, so that people can have a really good retirement. People can have confidence in what they're going to get to retire on. They can have confidence knowing that they're going to retire closer to what they're earning. It's really hard for people that do earn a lot of money, a lot more than what Social Security pays. When you retire on Social Security, right now, you're looking at $2,500, $2,600 a month, and people who are earning $200,000 a year or $300,000 a year, they're not equivalent. So somewhere along the line, they had to get the other money. They used IRAs or they used 401ks to do some of that, but it's not enough. If you take all of those things combined, they don't equal what you need to live on. If your plan of retiring is that you're going to have the same amount of money to live on as you did the day after retirement as you did the day before retirement, it's very difficult to do that if you are earning some important income. If your income is in what we consider the middle class, upper middle class, that requires a lot more funding to be able to get to retirement on a more equivalent basis. And that's one of the things that Social Security can do for you. That's why it's such a powerful theory. The theory of Social Security is 664 equals endowment squared. An endowment is a permanent income stream, as well as it could be a dollar amount, but a permanent income stream. And so an endowment of a permanent income stream that you build for yourself that can be unlimited, that you can pay, that you can put into it with non-cash assets, that when you use the non-cash assets, you can avoid the tax on capital gain. You can create a non-estate tax estates. You can also avoid income tax, because one of the things that you do when you use non-cash assets in a device like this, you get a tax deduction. So that's also worth money. That's worth money up front. So if you're in a high tax bracket, you have assets that have capital gains attached to them, and you're trying to change those to something else. The way that you do that is through this kind of a vehicle. And that's why this is what we call informed taxpayer stuff. You know, this is stuff for informed taxpayers. Everybody, if you don't think you're a philanthropist, but you're paying taxes, you're a philanthropist. You're just an involuntary philanthropist, and that needs to be changed. You need to become a thoughtful, informed, voluntary philanthropist.
Yes. What's the most creative tax-saving measure you've heard of when it comes to? Because you can get creative with the 664.
Well, this is very creative.
So
when you say it's creative, creative is it's different. I guess we're not doing something that hasn't been around for a long time. It's been around since 1969, but cutting edge use of the devices, where you have someone who really understands, and this was the wealthy in the country, the ultra wealthy in the country. I'm not talking about just normal wealth, but the ultra wealthy in the country, and the enormal wealth, the enormously wealthy people never pay tax. They pay very little tax. And the reason they do that is because they understand how to get advisors, and they're willing to pay advisors who understand how to avoid tax legitimately and use the tax code to its maximum benefit for the taxpayer. It's hard to say that, but the tax code has benefits to the taxpayer. If you have a 401k plan, you're already doing that. That's a tax benefit that's stated in Section 401k of the Internal Revenue Code that says if an employer wants to help his employees retire, he can get favorable tax benefits as a result of doing that, not only for himself, but for his corporation, and it also helps his employees. So it's very important. And the corporate world today needs to get off of the bottom line.
Yeah.
The corporate world today needs to change to what the corporate world was really all about, and that is being a good citizen, operating as a good citizen, meaning that you care about not only your bottom line, which is important, but you also care about your employees, you care about your customers, you care about the industry that you're in. You actually participate. It's not only about how much you're going to make at the bottom line. And we need to get to that. We need to get to that thought process, and that's part of the Age of Aquarius. Maybe charity can help us get to that.
Wasn't the Age of Aquarius written in 1970, 60?
It came out of Hair.
Okay.
It came out of the music came from the show Hair, but there is
astrological conversation now, folks.
Astrological. There is.
Hey, the stars are there.
The alignment of the stars has a bearing.
It does.
Whatever people want to say, it definitely has a bearing. And I think
the stars were here before we were.
Yeah, and we're our planet. We're in a universe, and our solar system is gradually moving in the universe to a place where we're at the edge, a different place in the universe, and the gravitational pull as a result of where we are positioned as a planet around a star that's in the universe has a bearing on the planet itself. So where you can see more volcanic, you're getting a separation of the outer crust. This is way beyond 664.
Yeah, I know.
This is way beyond all that, but it's all tied together. So it is the age.
It is the age.
This is the time to do this. This is the time to do this kind of planning.
The 60s was the dawning of the Age of Aquarius. Now we're in it, babe.
Yeah, we are.
Hang on.
Yeah. Human kindness.
It's good.
The road to human kindness. Route 664.
Good music on the road to human kindness.
Yeah, I want to talk about that. The radio station is
It's my baby.
Your baby?
My baby.
So tell me what all the special shows that we have.
Well, today, a Thursday, that we are always here live on Facebook and other platforms, thanks to Miami Community News papers. We have at 7 o'clock, Les Haber, got the Les's. How many Les's are there?
Less and less.
Les Haber does his jazz show, and that's from 7 to about 9 o'clock. And all day long, we have you interviewing different people. At what time is it now? Coming up at noon today and noon every day, we have Robin Sharma, and he gives you great pointers on just how to be a better human being and a better business person, too. And we have at 1 o'clock, Cammie Baker's back with helping us out, figure out the whole donating real estate. Her latest book, Fundraising is Hot. No.
Real estate is
hot. Fundraising is not.
Right.
But it can be. It can
We're
be.
supposed to be doing, when do we do the gentleman that wrote the book, I Am Money?
You love that book.
And I Don't Grow on Trees?
That is coming up maybe in 2 weeks. We have an interview with him next week. And I just want to tell you all, my birthday's coming up next week. So
All right, good.
we're going to celebrate that.
All right, 39.
And yes, thank you. And then great music all day long. Great stuff from different genres that get your toes a tapping in your...
What's the fastest way for...
Route664.org.
Route664.org. Go to that on any device.
You can find also our interviews are available in the podcast forum, Spotify, Amazon, Apple, all those platforms. We're everywhere. Just add Socials to Charity, put it in your Google. You'll find any information you need.
And what about the Adventures of Charity?
The Adventures of Charity, we have stopped producing those, but we may bring them back for a period of time, but we'll get back to them once we have some more.
And where can people see the ones that
content.
we have up that are already
those are on our website at socialsocharity.org.
Okay.
.org, not .com.
So if you want to be part of this movement in the Age of Aquarius, the movement to human kindness,
get
away
on the
from
road.
belligerence. Yeah, get on the road with us, and we can help you along that road if you need help. Part of what Endow America Network Foundation's purpose is to educate more advisors about how to use Social Security. Advisors that have familiarity with using Social Security are already listed on our website. If you go to socialcharity.org and go to find an advisor, you'll see all of the advisors that are understand how to use these devices, and they do have our interviews. Many of them have been interviewed. We've done quite a few of those.
A few of them.
Those interviews are on there as well, so you can get to know the person and see whether or not they're somebody you'd want to deal with.
And of course, YouTube. Find us on YouTube as well.
Exactly.
I love YouTube.
Also, Amazon Music.
We're everywhere.
We're getting everywhere. So, what can you do today to determine whether or not you're a candidate for a Social Security device under the theory of Social Security? And that has to do with, do you have something that's going to be happening where you are moving an asset, changing an asset? Have you decided that you don't want to be in the real estate business anymore? If you own a strip mall and the strip mall is over 30 years old and you don't want to worry about maintaining it and you don't want to worry about collecting rents, but you also don't want to do a 1031 exchange to another property so that you avoid the tax, you should consider looking into using a Social Security device to help you with that transaction, because you can transfer that asset from real estate to investable assets to produce income, avoid paying capital gains tax, and get a tax deduction at the same time. You can't do that with anything else. So those are really valuable things to have in your back pocket when you are getting ready to liquidate something that has a capital gain. If you're in a situation where you have, a large enough estate, an estate that's larger than the 12,900,000 and some odd thousand that the government allows each individual in a marriage to use as an exemption right now, I have to say all of that because there is a disclaimer. That's going to change for certain if nothing else is done in 2026 and revert back to the $5 million level unless they do other things with it. And when you have Congress in session, we never know what they're going to do, and they have the power to do a lot. So we are not anarchists. We are human kindness.
We're about love.
We're about love, right? Yes. Loving yourself, making yourself comfortable, reducing your own anxiety, giving yourself a future to look forward to, knowing that you can do it on your own without anybody else's help, and you can pretty much guarantee that you'll never run out of that money because it can't be taken away from you. Not a bad divorce, not a bad credit, nothing. Once you set it into a trust, that trust is separate from you, but it provides for you. And that's what's the power behind this kind of planning, because it is individually tailored to you, by you, and you have control over it. But you need guidance, and I can't stress enough that you have to find advisors that know how to do this properly.
Wizards.
They are wizards.
They really are.
They
Creative planning.
They're the assistants to charity.
I know it. She couldn't do it without them.
No, she couldn't. And I hope you all will embrace that superhero and the powers that she has to make your life better, and to make your community better, and to make the world a better place. We don't need to have fighting. Killing is a thing of the past, and anybody that's affected by the political world right now, we need to change that. Go from politics to economics, and economics is driven by your individual capacity to take care of yourself. You can reach your own individual economic freedom, and that's a really important goal for you to have. If you need assistance along the way, you can certainly go to the website, socialsecurity.org. You can tune into Route664.org radio. You can find us on YouTube. You can listen to some of the interviews that we've done, which are really educational in a way. They talk about charitable deed trusts, charitable remainder trusts, how they affect everything. So we had the opportunity available for you to do whatever it is that you need to do for yourself, but you need to pay attention to yourself. You are important. You need to feel that you're important, and you need to know that you can survive whatever's going on by taking care of these things yourself. You just need to know how to do that. And not knowing how to do that, we are trying to change that. We want you to be able to know how to do that. So that's,
in a nutshell,
what we do. And thank you very much for joining us today, Wanda.
Always a pleasure.
Yes.
Charity's going to take us out.
Okay, great.
All right.
So we'll see you next week.
Have fun. Have a great one.
Hey folks, it's Charity here. Philanthropy meets financial gains in the inspiring space of Donor Advised Funds. Tax Code 664 provides a perfect opportunity to both reduce taxable income and make charitable contributions through real estate donations. For donors, liquidating difficult-to-sell property while providing valuable assistance to nonprofits is made easier using this tax code. Heirs can benefit as well. So whether you're trying to save money or help your favorite organization aid its mission statement, look no further than giving creatively under Tax Code 664 for beneficial results all around.